Hi everybody, welcome to the South Australian Sports Show. I hope you can stay with us for the next hour. Plenty coming up on the show as I welcome, as always, Barry Curtin to the show. Baz, how are you?
Good, thank you. Going well.
Mate, it's a little bit fresh.
It's a bit nippy,
Adelaide. It was nice where I was last week. Nice. Yeah. Nearly didn't come back.
We'll stop talking about it.
Well, it's all those things I heard you said about me, you and your mate Timmy Juniper, mate. Oh, you're lucky I did come back, I've got to tell you. Hey, let's get going. Been a fair bit said this week and last week, well, probably since it started, the test.
Yeah.
4 games in.
Yeah.
Aussies win. Rain has a bit to do with it.
Yeah.
Did
Ashes,
England ever win an Ashes series because of rain?
Absolutely.
Because you would think they never have.
Yeah. Well, you would think that rain had never, ever interrupted a game before the way they carried on. I mean, it's quite staggering the way they carried on. If I was the England chief, I'd be saying, hey, boys, how about we just calm the farm here a little bit?
A bit of respect.
Exactly right. The Australians have won the Ashes. All they had to do was draw the game. They didn't, the rain intervened and we drew. That means that we win the Ashes. Now, be humble here. Don't carry on like a pork chop. That Piers Morgan, boy, oh boy. I love Piers Morgan, by the way. I really do. But boy, did he go off.
He's overshot the runway.
But they all went off.
Yeah.
I mean, I might have stirred the pot a bit with a social media post saying, you know, bloody lucky Poms or something like that. They came in like the time.
Okay, so you're not humble either then.
That's right. But look, mate, that game, the game of cricket has been interrupted by rain a million times over 100 years.
Yep.
And it's going to happen again. It'll happen again, no problem at all.
Yep.
So stop whinging. Stop whinging.
It's part of it, isn't it?
You know, I'd
it's
like to
part
see the
of
Aussie,
Test Ashes.
Yes, it is, mate. Yeah, it is. And they go 5 days. You've got 5 days to win a game. Now, if the rain comes in, the rain comes in.
Yep.
It could have been the other way. The Poms could have been 5 for 214. What would they say then? Wouldn't say anything.
Thank goodness it rained.
Well, thank goodness it rained.
Made the direct call.
That's exactly what happened.
All right, I want to ask you this, and I've never understood it. I understand the revenue side. I understand that it's always the tradition we play 5 games of Test cricket.
Yep.
But why are we playing a game that doesn't matter?
Well,
because it doesn't matter. The series is decided, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's the relevance? What's the relevance of this game?
The Ashes
revenue.
The Ashes are probably the biggest game of cricket in the world.
Yep.
It's probably the biggest game, the biggest series in the world. No problems at all. It's always been 5 tests.
Yep.
Always. Because we don't play 5 tests against anyone else. We'll play 3 tests against West Indies and 3 against New Zealand and whatever. Never 5. 5 is for the Ashes. So they'll always play 5. So regardless of whether it's a draw or whether we've had series where the Australians have led 3-0 and still gone on to play the last 2 Test matches.
I'm trying to think of another sport though where you come to the final, and we're calling the Ashes a finals event.
Yeah.
Where once the series decided, we'll play an extra game. I can't think of another sporting code that does it. I'm not saying that they.
No, it is odd. It's true when you would talk about it like that.
I'm thinking as a player.
Yeah.
And you always want to play well for your country, but I've achieved what I wanted to achieve. I can't see that the player could have the same mindset in Test 5 that he had in Test 4 when we needed to win.
Okay.
Now Test 5 we've won it.
Yeah, okay.
How do you come... You know, I know you want to do well,
but
I just don't sense that desperation's at the same level.
Well,
I can't see how it could be.
If it was any other game...
Other than we just want to beat
I
England.
would say, yes, I would agree with you. But let me tell you here, mate, that the Aussies will come into that 5th Test full of beans, firing.
I'm going to have a look and see how many times the country that's won it lose the last 5th Test.
But that happens quite a bit, doesn't it? You know, that happens.
Whether it's an abnormality or not.
that happens a little bit.
You know, if it's 90% of the time, I reckon I've got a solid case. If it's 50-50, you go, well, you're right.
Both sides here, mate, are going to be so desperate to win this last one. Australia, so that they can win the series, because it's a series win.
Yep.
You're also playing for the World Test Championships, points.
Yep.
So, you know, if they win this test, they'll get X amount of points. But mate, both these teams will be going, probably heavier than they have in the first 4.
I find it interesting, though. I reckon I went as a spectator. I'm sitting next to you, Barry, for England, and you're going really well. I'll be sitting there going, mate, we don't care, we've won it. We don't care, we've won it. Now, if we're going pretty well, I might be giving you a little bit of stick along the way, but generally...
Stick, I'll be giving it to them for sure.
So, on this one, and we know they're playing now and the teams have all been selected, but if the situation was different, would you select Warner and go, well, we'll give him a game, it doesn't matter, let's have a farewell Test game? Because that's quite a big honour to hand a farewell Test game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's here.
When was the last time we did it?
I don't. I don't think anyone's ever done it. I don't know that.
I'm not sure.
You know, because again, if it's in a game where it's not significant, we don't have to pick. And I'm not saying that he wouldn't have been selected, but we don't have to pick our best team because we've won it.
Yeah.
This guy's going to retire. I think we can gift him one.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was 2-2 and we had to win it, and the bloke's going to retire, we're looking at it going, unless you warrant it, mate, you're not getting in.
Yeah.
But could you see that thinking come into it?
No, I don't think so. I think Warner will play in the
I'm just using him as an example.
No,
it could be
I
any
can see where you're coming from because
he actually hasn't been that bad.
Well, he hasn't. He
hasn't been good, but he hasn't been bad either.
He's been a 20 and 30s man, which is not the way he plays. That's not his go, 20 and 30. He'll turn one of those into a big one.
Yes.
That's the thing.
And
That's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
That's what he needs to do. He'll play in the last test here.
Yeah.
What I don't like about Warner is him saying that I'm looking at Sydney to be my last test. If I was a selector, I'd say, I'll be looking at you getting some runs before you get picked to play in Sydney. Because, no, you don't gift players games, ever. You know, they talk about, the last player I saw get gifted a game? Nigel Smart.
Nigel Smart?
No, true. This is, and I'm not knocking anybody
No.
But it was Nigel Smart at Football Park.
Yep.
And, mate, he looked like he should have been playing for Rosewater.
Yes.
So it wasn't good for Nigel.
Yes.
Because he was off the pace. So I don't agree with gifting people games just for the sake of gifting them a game. If it was his 199th game, I might think about having him on
get to 200.
the final one on the interchange somewhere. Maybe. Maybe, but then I would probably not.
I reckon there's a bit of history around the Smarty one. I reckon Smarty had challenged Blighty in a meeting about the way they were going to defend, and they said, no, this is it, mate. And you're not playing well enough, so we'll give you one more game and see you later. So there was a bit of that in it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Travis Head has certainly made a fairly strong statement that they'd misjudged him just before the Ashes started. Is he our next captain?
Mate, I'm glad you asked me that question because I was listening to Crash Craddock. Now, he's one of the senior cricket writers in Australia.
And one of the best.
And one of the best. But he came up with, he was talking about the next Australian captain. Who's going to be the next Australian captain? So he mentioned Labuschagne. No, he won't be the man. He's not ready yet. And Khawaja, he's pretty good. He's not a bad leader and whatever. And he said that somebody, Jason Gillespie, has been a big push for Travis Head. And I thought, well, so am I. And I'm listening to this conversation. Yeah. And he said, but I can't see Travis Head getting the job because he's South Australian and they've been bottom of the Shield table for the last 4 or 5 years. What has that got to do with Travis Head?
Nothing.
Because Travis Head has been playing Test cricket, hasn't been playing for you, hasn't been playing enough cricket for the Sackers. If he did play all year, they'd probably win the Shield. So I think that was a really ordinary comment.
I agree with that. It is ordinary.
To me, mate, of a little bit of South Aussie bashing. That's what it did. He said he's no Ian Chappell. I don't see another Ian Chappell coming out of South Australia at all because they're bottom of the Shield table. If Travis Head goes back and he plays for South Australia and they win a few games, then we might think about him. Well, hang on, mate. If he's playing for SA, he's not playing for Australia.
There it is.
It's a ridiculous comment.
It's a foolish comment.
I believe that Travis Head is tailor-made for the job.
He just looks like it, his demeanour and everything.
He's young. He's your captain for the next 10 years. It gives you that continuity. Yes. He's not going to fail because he's a terrific player.
Yes.
He can bowl a bit of off-spin and he's got a good cricket head. Pardon the pun.
Yes.
But he's just a very good player who I believe, if they bit the bullet and just went bang, bang. Let's not drop Cummins yet, by the way.
No. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying I think he's...
the next one.
I look at the way he handled himself when he got left out of the team. He didn't fire any rockets. So I look at the way when he's around training and the guys that get around him. I look at the way that he's played. He just seems, and having only spoken to him one time, I'm not saying because he's a South Australian. I'm just saying in the group that you currently look at, he looks like the most measured and the guy that's got the brain to play that.
And he has.
He'll be different to the way Chappell led. He'll be different to the way Border led. They're all different in the way they lead, but it's a fairly offensive comment to make.
Well, I just think it was a rough comment.
It's a rough comment.
On Travis, given that he doesn't play that many games for SA. He'll play not a lot of Shield games. So I think that was a bit off the mark. And for coming from Crash, I thought it was a bit off the mark. Stephen Smith was mentioned as well. But no, he's 32, 33 now. If you looked at the demographic of the Australian cricket team right now, you would go, bang, Travis Head. He'd be the captain for your next 10 years without a problem.
I mean, there might be someone else there. Just, again, we're a long way back looking at it. And I'm glad Dizzy stood up for him too.
Yeah, he did, yeah, absolutely.
Mate, just quickly, Tex Walker signed for another year.
Yeah, good on
with the
him. He deserves
Crows,
it.
second in the Coleman at the moment.
deserves
Yeah.
He said that this year was going to be his last year.
Yep.
But he's had a good year, so why wouldn't he? He's still one of the most dangerous forwards going around, as he proved against Melbourne on the weekend, where he hadn't had a kick, Tex, wasn't in the game. Then all of a sudden, bang, 3 goals. Well,
Yep.
look out.
There's a presence about
And they're
him at
back
the
in.
moment.
Of course he's got a presence,
Won't be
yeah.
surprised if you see Sloaney re-sign as well. Hey, just quickly, Melbourne,
Don't worry about him, don't worry about him, by the
Melbourne,
way.
yes, but his body's
Sloaney.
pretty beaten. Melbourne, no com games.
Yeah.
Adelaide's been pretty good at picking up a lot of sporting things in the last 12 months, mate.
Yeah.
Could you see us suddenly swoop in and go,
Well-
we'll take that?
well, mate-
We don't want to take the debt, but we wouldn't mind having a look at that.
Well,
So-
mate, what has changed between the time that Dan Andrews said yes to the Commonwealth Games to when he says no? What has changed? He said that there's a budget blowout where a lot of people,
it's
and
being disputed
everybody
at the
has come in,
moment.
has
Yeah.
disputed that.
Yeah.
Everybody, not just, the bloke
I
who's-
think he's looked at the debt that happened with locking the place down for 2 years through COVID. He's had a look at all the other debts and gone, I can't afford any more debts, and this is not going to get us any credit, so we'll let it go.
I think it's an amazing decision, and I do think it's a slap in the face to Australia from around the world.
No doubt.
But then again, I'm also I think that his decision wasn't a bad one, given the state of the economy in Victoria.
Absolutely right for the economy.
So there's ways of looking at it, whatever. But I just believe that he's given us a bit of a kick up the bum.
Bit of a kick on the All right, well, we need to get up and running. We'll take a kick ourselves as we get to a break. Stay with us. Still plenty coming out on the show.